Hi everyone, welcome to the Passport to Research. I'm Vince Madan, and on behalf of Bits Embryo, we're glad that you're here. Today's session is centered around one simple but important question: what does it actually take to land a research internship? Whether you're just starting to explore research or already thinking about applying for opportunities, we hope today's conversation gives you a much clearer picture of the journey. We have invited three Bitstians who have successfully landed research internships in three very different fields: aerospace, computational neuroscience, and agentic AI. Each of them has taken a unique path, and today we'll be sharing their experiences, the challenges they faced, the decisions they made, and the lessons they learned along the way. By the end of this session, you'll have a much better understanding of how to prepare yourself, build the right skills, approach professors, and ultimately go after opportunities like theirs, straight from people who were sitting exactly where you are not too long ago. All right, let's meet our panelists. So, if you could just turn on your videos. Okay, perfect. So, first, Ashray Saxena at RWTH, Aachen in Germany, one of Europe's top technical universities, working on preliminary aircraft design, MDO, and mission profile analysis. In short, he helps figure out how the next generation aircraft should be designed before they're ever built. Welcome, Ashray. Next, Aarchi Narang, doing computational. Yeah, sorry, you were saying something?
Go ahead, it's fine.
Okay,
No problem.
okay, great. So next, Archie Narang doing computational neuroscience at USC through the IUSSTF-Viterbi program, a competitive India-US research fellowship. Archie combines neuroscience and computational science to understand how the brain actually works. Welcome, Archie. And the next is Ritesh Ray, researching agentic AI for personal financial services and portfolio management, remotely under Professor Philip Trillivin at UCL. Simply put, AI that can act on its own, almost like a smart financial advisor. Welcome, Ritesh. All right, we're really glad to have such amazing speakers today. And now we know that who's in the room. So let's get into it, starting from the very basics. So, this question is for all three of you. For anyone in the audience who has never done one or might be intimidated by the idea, what actually is a research internship? And what does your day to day look like compared to a standard corporate internship? And what surprised you most when you started?
Well, I guess I'll just start it off, if that's fine. I
Okay,
just
great.
want to confirm I'm audible, right?
Yeah, you are.
Okay, so yeah, so firstly, like addressing the corporate and research-based comparison of how the things actually differ. So I've been working in corporate for like the last 8 months. I've been an intern at Lat Aerospace, the Pinnacle startup making small aircrafts. So essentially, that was the place which basically just like sparked my interest in aircraft designing, and I did a lot of projects over there. But then ultimately, I had an inclination that maybe okay, now it's time to try research. So yeah, I went on with research internships, but right now I just like to clarify, like I'm not technically doing an RI. I have a thesis which is going to be like 6 months starting from August, and yeah, so I'll be in Germany and I'll be conducting the thesis of campus over there. Uh, so basically, like work wise, I think that is more academic, obviously, because you get to do a lot more literature review and understanding what has already been done as compared to like in corporate you have more of a hands-on experience. That's something which I don't like about research, honestly, that you get a lot of experimentation in one sense, but then again that it comes to that part that you have a more rigorous work ethic when you're working in research as compared to corporate, but it's not that much of a difference. All of it is at the end of the day linked because the world is moving towards R&D in both corporate and research, so it just goes hand in hand. That's what my opinion is on this, so yeah.
Okay, that's very nice. Archie, do you have something to say?
Yeah, just to add to, firstly, hi everyone, and just to add to this, as you said, that people who are intimidated by research, who are new to research, I would just say that they could try and take up a SOP or any other kind of project, maybe a lab oriented project under a professor here at BITS. So that would give a general basic idea of how research goes about. So that could be helpful to decide, as in if they want to take a research internship or not.
Okay,
Uh,
great.
yeah, my opinion is also about similar about these things, because in the first place, I also didn't think that I'll be pursuing a research internship somewhere. But in the meantime, when I got back to the projects and the SOPs under my professors, I got to know that these are my interest areas, and I might uh, have fun learning about them much into deeper, and hence I landed up some interest, and here I am right now.
All right, great. So related to that research and SOPs, looking back, actively helped you build a strong and credible research profile while you were still at BITS? For someone that is trying to stand out today, what made the biggest difference? Research projects or professor interactions or competitions or clubs or departments? Like, what should you focus on once you have that interest in research?
Uh, so for that part, basically, you have to first think upon, like, if it's completely based out of interest, you will automatically think about doing some projects and learning more about these things. So these does not require any club or departments commitment, etc. It's just based out of you, and you can do it in your hostel room, etc. So, like, basically start making projects and learn about these things, and it's on online available. And like, mine is a remote internship, so mostly my work revolves online only. And much of these things are available on archive, ssr, and etc., and you can explore these fields, do projects into these. And so you can explore your domain, actually. Like, if you're interested in in a specific domain, or you need to change something or other.
Okay, would you like to add anything, Archie and Ashray?
Yes, actually, I agree with this. It's not that you need to take up any other research internship or any other structured project. It's just that if you work in that domain, if you have interest and you have done some project, like literally worked upon it, and then you approach a professor in that field of interest, and if the work aligns with that professor, they would be happy to take you up as an intern.
Yeah, so I completely, like, obviously agree with both Ritesh and Archie, but like for me, the entire experience was a lot different. I When I came to campus, I was like a finance head. Okay, like ठीक है bro, quant करना है, ये सब करना है. And like I'm in mechanical engineering right now, so like that was one of the things which I was planning, that okay, bhai, what team I'll just switch it up. Perhaps that was something which I'll do. But then yeah, down the line, I just realized that okay, that might not be something which I'm actually interested in, right? Because I had experience working in robotics prior to coming to college, and of course, then like I started working for Chris, and eventually when SOPs and everything happened, that's when I realized that okay, maybe like just managing all these systems, the control architecture or something in one sense was something which might be my thing, right? But yeah, I just think see Aero as a field is not at all prominent at BITS. It's not available on campus. There's the closest course which comes to Aero is gas dynamics, and yeah, like the professors are particularly also not very into Aero, so I did not receive a lot of uh, like push from college in this sense. But one of the professors, Professor Biswadeep Shome, so he essentially takes gas dynamics, right? So he gave me a very distinctive problem statement as an off SOP, and I'm like, okay, that is looking interesting. And from there, I ended up like work, like basically how Ritesh mentioned that everything is actually online. You just have to make the effort of searching whatever question is bubbling up in your head. You search it up, you will find thousands of papers. Like, trust me, every day I feel like I'm thinking of something new. I open the net and like, oh my god, there's so much work already done, right? So uh, my all my work started from like a computer science front again in Aero. Again, something which I did not actually imagine. So my point of basically saying that is you might never actually have a very structured path into which ultimately leads you to where you want to be, because you might not always know where you want to be. It's about just fucking around and figuring out to ultimately land at a position where you feel like, oh, this is a comfort space. I'm fine working with it, and yeah, then you can go ahead with that. So yeah.
All right, that was actually very inspiring. So now we know how you got into your work field, and we know how like chaotic and actually structured and how different your path actually was. So now I just hear the excitement in all of your voices when you talk about your work, and I just want to get the audience just as excited as you are right now. So now I want to hear about what is the absolute coolest or the most exciting part of your work that you do. Is there a specific project, breakthrough, or just a specific moment where you thought that this is exactly why I wanted to do research, and the kind of experiences that made all the hard work feel completely worth it?
Okay, so let me start this.
Okay.
Basically, when I got the project, my professor, first of all, in his first meet, said me like, Ritesh, why being in a mechanical engineering background, why did you put so much pain in your ass doing finance and take up a CS professor's RI? So, and after on the same call, he said like, what is your dream project? Forget about what things I do, what things have you been experienced right now. What is your dream project? Like, think excessively anything, like most random ass thing, and then we can start building it. So that was the moment I thought like, okay, that's the kick like I wanted, and which I don't think you can find anywhere in corporate, because that's the freedom that you cannot expect your manager to give.
Okay, so that's your favorite part of doing research?
And then I finally made a project out of my own thinking with some professor's help,
Okay.
and some PhD scholars working under him. So that basically constructed my project on which I'm currently working,
Wow.
which is pretty cool.
Yeah, it
Might
is.
sound boring to a few people, so I might elaborate it later.
Okay, okay, fine. Sure. Archie, would you like to add to that?
Yeah, for me, I just like the idea of exploring the brain more. That's just it. It's that
Okay.
I'm still not sure about research. I wanted to get an exposure to research, and then I'll be doing a PhD this semester. So to get an idea of to get an idea of the corporate work as well, to know and decide what is for me. So right now I'm working on something interesting. It is the estimation of brain age using MRI scans with the help of deep learning models. So I'll give you an example just for
Mhm.
just to explain you. For example, if there's a person who's 20 years old, but their brain age is predicted to be 30 years. Brain age predicted from their MRI scan. So basically, how their brain looks right now, it's 30 years old. So this age gap of 10 years would mean that that the brain is basically aging faster than how it should. So this would mean that there is a possibility of some clinical disorder or maybe some other neurological disorder, and would help in an early diagnosis. So that's what I found interesting. And yeah,
Wow, because like
it's
the mental health issues like that comes really like in the old age more than the young age, right?
yeah. So my lab is basically studying the aging of brain only, and disorders that occur in old age.
Okay, wow, great. That's
And
cool.
lab is purely computational, so that is there too.
Okay. What about you, Ashray?
Yeah.
Yeah, so Ritesh mentioned one thing, that there is like obviously corporate definitely constrains a lot of the space which you get to run your mind around here and there. But yeah, I'll just give a disclaimer. I'm not selling LAT aerospace here, just making it clear. But like yeah, I have honestly received a lot of freedom over there. Considering it is not really into the corporate sector, they are actually building something which like only 5 companies in the world are doing, right? So basically, when that company started, nobody exactly knew that, bro, what the fuck are we exactly going to be doing in the future? So it was always an approach of figuring out stuff, right? Now, one of the first things which I did back in December to January in my 1 month of period of winter internship. So I was basically working on a project, like so Mark Drella. So that guy is like one of the, he's like the baddest physics professor and fluid professor in aerospace history. He's from MIT, right? So he's
Okay.
basically the head of the largest wind tunnel in the world, and that guy has basically developed a lot of softwares in Fortran. Okay, and they're basically sold at like $20,000, $35,000 per month or basis to commercial platforms. I was working on remaking one of those most expensive premium tier softwares for free in-house at LAT, and I was successful in doing that. And how did I do that? Was completely just on the basis of how like AI has been improving across different schemes. So again, deep learning and all of those different factors which I was using, NSGA, MOCA, multiple disciplinary optimization. All of these sound like jargons, but essentially, it's just like you just feed in something and you just get something out of it. It's just perfecting that middle system of it, and you just trust me, like it's a sight to see when you just see all of your work come to life. And then ultimately I designed an airfoil, which airfoil is like the wing profiling essentially, which is designed for your lift, drag, and all the other aerodynamic concepts, right? So I ended up like spewing something out of my code, and it worked so well across CFD, across all the simulation, that right now it's going to go on the next flight by LAT, and it's something you're going to see in like a couple of weeks. So yeah, that is something which gives you a feeling of okay, you're doing something right, right? So yeah.
Okay, damn. So you mentioned that when your company started, nobody actually knew what you were doing. When I was actually reading about your work and your company, I actually couldn't understand myself what actually it is and what does it do. So I wanted to ask you more about that. You seem to have built a very project-heavy profile, but I think it's crucial to understand what your job actually is and what you're currently working on. So
Yeah, so see, essentially, like, I'll just give you a brief about what LAT is. LAT is like a very small knitted team where, like, everyone, it's essentially like any club which you have in college, okay? Like, there is Team Anand, Chris Robotics. I was the team captain of Chris Robotics, right? So,
okay.
from a lot of rigor comes from that as well. But yeah, I mean, somewhere or the other. But so essentially, when you're spending 10 hours, 11 hours in college just figuring out, ki, bhai, ye machine, why is it not working, right? So you get that debugging instinct, you get that solving instinct. That is exactly what happens over there. I consider that to just be a much more financially funded organization, like a club or something, right? That's what LAT is for me. So there are like different requirements, different projects which keep on happening simultaneously. So I began with designing Skynet. That's the name of the framework which I have developed, which basically comes it's under development right now, but yeah, right now it has already built in Xfoil, Neural Foil, and several other algorithms for airfoil optimization. And it's coming very close to MSES, which is like the end point where it comes to in present day aerospace know-how. So that was one of my initial projects, and now they have a new project in gas turbine engines. So I am developing the entire engine control, completely different from what I've been doing previously. And no, that this was something which I did in the last 2 months, and now I'm working on a totally different field. It's GNSS denied. So it's like random things happening parallelly. You can just consider me to be an MPI solver, having different processor CPU codes, and it's just going on. Uh, and this is the habit which you actually develop in college when you're juggling through everything. You might feel like, yeah, it's getting too tight with deadlines, too tight with all the due tests, all the late night department work, club work. But somewhere or the other, if you are diligent enough to actually shape yourself in college, that surely pays off in the end. And yeah, like that's what like the other two will also agree, because you have to like be, at content with yourself, to be able to show to the outer world that, bro, I have some value and you are going to actually appreciate that because I have proven that to myself. That's the feeling which you get when you're actually giving in time to yourself. And I think BITS has that freedom of no attendance. I have a zero attendance in all the 3 years. So yeah, so that definitely could be used for like good purposes.
Okay, that's really good to hear. So I'll give a chance to speak for the other guests to speak now. I'll ask this question for Ritesh. AI is incredibly competitive. Looking back, what part of your profile do you think convinced professors or recruiters to take a chance on you?
First of all, my background in finance was just a minor degree in finance, and secondly, I had two projects in my resume, which uh, which could be striking. Like the first one, which I made in PS1, it was basically an audio language detector uh, profile. It is just a
Mhm.
preprocessor for the Google Translate of India. It's Bharshini. Okay, so basically, after that, my model it gave 97% accuracy, and it is apparently deployed in Parliament of India. So after that project, I got a quant quant trading bootcamp from GoQuant. So it was for 1 month, and I did that. Okay, it's again a boring part, and the SOP project under my finance professor of his name is Devta Vyomkesh. So it was a hybrid model which basically took the financial data of four coins, which are like bitcoins, Ethereum, etc., and take that uh, take the data of the coins. From that, you just train on the transformers, and also on the statistical models like EGARTs, etc., and that becomes a hybrid model, and it gave an accuracy of 66%. So it's not that much efficient, but still it was pretty much to pretty much for the professor to show my interest in the domain. So I
Okay.
think that struck in for the professor, and he's already working in some he's not a finance professor, obviously. His interests are in finance, but his domain is completely CS based. So he was expecting a research intern who has a background in both. So that's why I fit in somewhere.
Okay, great. So now I'll ask a similar question to all of you. And this is the question that everybody in the audience is dying to know the answer for. Securing opportunities like these can feel like a complete mystery from the outside world. How did you actually discover, pursue this specific internship? So, what I need right now is your application journey from finding the opportunity to finally receiving the acceptance mail. Okay, yeah, Archie, you
Shall I
can start.
start? Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
So I think my process would be different from the other two. I think so. It's a structured program. I'm not sure if other two were. Yeah. So how I got to know about the program is through last year. Three people from my batch itself. I'm doing this after my fourth year. They had done this after the third year. So three people from my batch got in from Pilani campus itself in this internship, and this is how I got to know about it. So
Okay.
this is basically this is the IUSSTF-Viterbi program. It is a
Mhm.
collaboration between USC-Viterbi and the Indo-US Science and Technology Forum. So it's basically an 8-week fully funded program. It is a structured program, so you need to apply. So there is a designated portal through which you need to apply for it. Uh, so they have their own website, and they all the application procedure. It's basically detailed there, but I can discuss some of the few major points that are the main requirements.
Okay.
So it included a research statement that you need to submit. That's around 1,000 word essay where you need to describe your field of interest. There's a list of professors who are offering projects that in the particular summer. So you can go through the list and select your field of interest. Basically, it is targeted towards computer science, electrical, and electronic students. So for us, it'll be CS and all the three Phoenix branches, and maybe
Okay.
now MNC also. Yeah. So that is that. It's not very specific to what I'm doing. So it's just I got lucky that I could find people working on brain there, and I could
Okay.
put them in my preference list. So you have to provide a preference list of two or three professors along with your field of interest, giving a background of that. How did you develop that interest? One is that. Second is the 1,000 word essay again on your research experience. So you have to cover if you have any relevant experience in that field, if there is any technical background that you have that would be relevant for that intern for this work, and any other projects that you might have taken up.
Okay. So did
Then
you
there
have
is a
anything
sorry. Yeah.
specific in your application, in your research
So
experience?
actually, I took up two SOPs, one under a bio professor, one under a CS professor, working on EEG signal analysis. So I had worked on brain. Right now I'm working on images, but I'd worked on signals before. So I did have idea of the domain, and I'd
Okay.
also taken up some one other project at the intersection of biology and computer science, but then
Okay.
it was not related to neuroscience. And I also done a research internship, so that was also on movement tracking softwares for fruit flies. That will sound absurd, but then that was that. So I
Okay.
worked in a space biology lab. That was something
Hmm.
interesting before this. Um, okay, so I was at the statement of purpose for
Yeah. Statement of
research
purpose.
experience, 1,000 words, research statement, 1,000 words. Then the application process is tedious. I know this is very tedious. And
Yes.
then there was a statement of purpose. You had to describe your career goals, long term and short term, and how would this internship help in your career goals. 500 words for that. And statements, I think these are all. Just a minute, I'll check. Yeah, and then you had to get two letters of recommendation.
Okay. So you
So
got that
that is,
letters from your previous SOPs and projects.
yes, I got one from, one is required to be from a professor only. So I got it from a professor whom I knew personally, not that I did not that I did a project under her, but I would
Hmm.
recommend getting it from somebody who can write more than that you got an A in their course, who knows you on a
Okay.
personal basis, under whom you might have done a project, or who can say more than just that you got an A. So there's something they can know, because getting an A, it's very generic,
Hmm. Yeah.
for a shop, for a, sorry, LOR. And the second one I got from a PS1 mentor. So I
Okay.
had one from bio side, one from CS side to like support both the sides. And
Okay.
so I think that is a very important part of the application. Even the professors and the administrative team here, when they were conducting a session with us, informal session with us, they told us that uh, that the CGPA also I forgot to mention, there's a CGPA requirement of 8.5 here for this program.
Okay.
So the CGPA and the letters of recommendation that they consider a lot while looking through the application. They give it a high priority. And lastly, you need to get an NOC, no objection certificate, that you can get from SWD, stating that BITS does not have any problem with you applying for this internship or being a part of it. Other than this, there were some personal and academic details that were required. And
Hmm.
once I got the acceptance, then after when I had accepted the acceptance, so then I was paired with a professor after that. Even some people got paired with professors whom they're not listed in their preference list, but just according to their field of interest, they were paired with professors from the college.
Okay, that's actually very informative and very necessary for students to hear because I personally did not know any of that. So, what about other two people? Is there like something different in your application forms and how did you land it?
So from like my side, there wasn't a specific. I mean, there was an application form, but I decided to go beyond it, and I thought that okay, let's be shameless and actually cold mail the head of the institute. Okay, so I basically just mailed, like I looked around at what are they doing exactly. Obviously, this was not the only university I applied to. There were a lot of people I was like consecutively mailing, but like it was all around the domain of interest which I had, right? And I did receive like I mean, there are good turnouts when you're talking to professors abroad, just like making it clear because some people, like I have met some juniors who go like, "Ki, do professors even reply?" Because like sometimes they might be too worried by the dried out dormant response they get from which professors. Professors abroad are not like that. They are very like interested in actually collaborating on things which can sail their boat, right? And they are
Mhm.
continuously looking for talent. And like there is this particular provision for students to just come to the campus, execute a project, and then just go back whilst they're continuing the degree somewhere else. So this was something which I am basically doing. So I am neither an exchange student nor I'm doing my degree there. I'm just going there as a visiting project student and I'm just conducting research. And how that basically happens is that in Germany specifically, that's something I can tell for Germany or Netherlands because I got acceptance from like both TU Delft and RWTH Aachen. So in both the places, the process is the same. So it's just like you firstly have to find a professor, and
Okay.
then they have an interview where like the professor is there and the PhD scholar or someone who you will be working with is also there in the meeting, and then they assess you over a technical like chat for like an hour or so. And on the basis of that, they release a letter of invitation. But that is where the actual hardship starts because once you receive the letter of invitation, then I ended up realizing that oh my god, there is no visa category for me. What do I do now? Right. So because you see that there is an option for exchange student, there is an option for bachelor thesis, for master's thesis. There is no particular fragment for me, right? I asked my seniors, so like I was not able to find anyone who has basically done what I'm doing here. So people actually either went on like some corporate internship abroad, or they went on a 3 month visa. So when you go to Europe, 3 months is easy to get. It's a Schengen visa, right? You do not need anything. You just need an admission letter from the university, and that's all. No other documents. But when you are actually going for a 6 month visa, then they basically address you as a temporary resident. And when the term resident gets attached to your profile, then it's like a hard undertaking. So I had to like, so there is a proper process to that. So firstly, you have to get an APS certificate. So that is basically a German embassy science section, which assesses your academic profile. There are minimum CGPA requirements, 7.5 to be precise. And they basically count till the last semester, which for me was my sixth semester. So they address all the real like documents and everything. So there are two ways where you can get that done. Either you get the documents to the APS physically, or you can always ask the institute to mail that for you. So what happens is that when the institute is mailing that, there is a direct credibility factor over there. So
Mhm.
usually, if you see people getting APS, like or Reddit pay or Quora pay, I also looked around. People take 2 to 3 months to get APS. Mine came within 1.5 weeks. So the entire reason for that was I basically I'm doing my thesis like my on-campus supervisor is Professor Dasgupta, right? I've had a pretty good relation with him. So he just like wrapped up all my documents, mailed it to APS. And now, because right now it's the student intake season, because people are going to go for bachelor studies and everything, they were pretty fast in like issuing all the documents. So my APS came like I started this entire process after the summer break began, essentially. So I was like I got my APS in like June mid, and then I applied for my visa in June end. And today I had my appointment, and 1 week later I'll have my visa. That's the speed at which
Okay.
things move. Actually, people think that it's like a 2 to 3 month long process. It's not really that long. Till the point you have everything sorted, and that includes like when you have this visiting project wala thing, then you go to the institutes website, you have that particular international incoming students section. I'll advise ki whoever wants to actually go somewhere, be it MIT, be it Cambridge, be it London, wherever, look through that college requirements, because there are several programs which will assist you in actually getting on board. And there are a lot of times you might not find them right there on the screen when you look for student opportunities. You might have to talk to, the individual person over there, and they can assist you over with everything. And it's a pretty chill process. Europe is pretty fast moving with all these terms. So yeah, that's one of the things. So that's all.
Okay, so what I wanted to ask is, what actually helped you get recognized by them when you cold emailed them? So, what work did you do at BITS during when you were a student that helped you get recognized? Yeah.
Okay, so essentially, firstly, there is a way in which you draft your mail, right?
Okay.
And that essentially come like for me, that experience came with a lot of cold mailing prior to that because of sponsorship and everything which I used to do. So when you exactly get an idea that okay, what the professor is targeting, so the methodology for that is, because we live in an AI world, you go to Claude, you just give it the professor's profile. Okay, you skim through some basic part and then you just tell it that okay, bro, this is my work interest, this is the professor, this is the university. Look at this professor's profile, look at similar professor's profile, and then just draft me a list of projects they have worked on. Right. So you will just
Okay.
document it down, and then you will see that okay, this is overlapping with what my interests are. And on the basis of that, you can reduce like a cluster of professors to just a minute few, which are focusing on the niche you want to do. Once you are done with that, then you just see that okay, my projects are in this field, right? So a lot of the projects which I did in college, like obviously I have what I have three SOPs right now, which I have done, and then I have like close to 7 to 8 internships I have done outside college. So that definitely did help me out. And that might sound like a lot of say overbearing, which I might have done, but not really, because see, there are smart ways to find work which will pay you well and will actually give you an opportunity to learn. And I think one of the best ways to do that is to work at a healthy startup. And what I mean by healthy startup is someone who is not expecting too much out of you without giving nothing in return. So I began like my first work, like the entire work period was like in a company which you guys might not know. The name was pretty funny. It was Crazy Goldfish. Okay, so it was basically working on vector rack contents for AI evaluation of K-12 documents and everything. So that's where like I ran through vector RG database and everything, and that was my first AI moment. Okay, because I was actively working with AI in the loop. And for me, computer science always felt very far-fetched, but then this came into the being. And then I realized that okay, there are a lot of softwares I can actually play with just on my PC. So I was just experimenting through different like papers and work which have already been done. I did a lot of projects, and then yeah, that is something which directly translated over to my CV, right? And then I also was working on a few papers. One of them was at IIT. What the fuck, IIT? IEEE Aerospace Conference. So it got shortlisted, but yeah, the duration basically clashed with our midsem, so I did not go there. But that was one of the things. So that ultimately went into preprint, and then similarly, I actively got very interested in research, and like I think that was the only thing which actually matters when you are going for a research thesis. So by the time I was applying, I had like 3 publications, and I had they don't. I'll just tell you, they never asked me about my CGPA or something, even though it was there in the CV. But professors abroad, at least for research work, what they care about is the fundamentals which you know. They do not care
Mhm.
about the big jargons in your project titles. They rather care about I am going to ask a very fundamental question. Are you able to like dig deep and find out the basic intricacies of it? Because that is where the real game lies in. You cannot consider yourself to be an Einstein or someone by just, as a figuring out a randomized equation for friction and fluid flow. You need to understand what fluid is, what pressure is, because the basic knowledge you get from college whilst understanding like we were taught fluid dynamics, but then when you go to every single term in Navier-Stokes equation, that's in itself a thesis which exists
Mhm.
already out there. It's not that easy, at what we look at from the bachelor's level. So when you deep dive into that, that's when things actually happen, and you have to push yourself for that. Like, this
Okay.
motivation does not come, like, there might be some people who might get motivated after this, but trust me, motivation only takes a few days to just get wiped off. You need to have that consciousness inside of you that, okay, I have this curiosity and I want to, like, just fuck with it and just reach the root of the solution. And that can only happen when you're actually thinking about what affects you. Just because Ritesh is doing, let's say, financial AI, you go like, oh, this sounds like a field which has a lot of money, and you start working, it won't sell your vote. This guy is already talented, this guy already has that rigor in himself, that's why he's doing that, right?
Yeah.
So similarly, you might have an interest of your own, find that. Do not run behind, do not just chase the rats, rather just have your own race. And it's completely fine to just have nothing at times, but to keep your mind running. That's what I feel actually gets stuff on your CV or on your resume, and that gets you recognized eventually, be it anywhere. Like, I mean, I don't think, like, I think both of them would agree. Like, if they were to reach out to any professor, there is no professor who will just upfront go like, oh my god, you are shit. No, because you have the work, you have done it, they will acknowledge it. They might not be able to give you a position due to some constraints, but that's fine. You learn from it,
Mhm.
you realize the situation, and then you just move on. You don't have to stop, right? Like, I started applying in February, I got it in May. 3 months. So it takes time. So that's what the entire thing is supposed to be. So yeah.
Okay, that's actually very, very inspiring to hear. So, what about Ritesh? The same question. Your from application to your acceptance journey.
Mine was a completely different ball game from all from other two. So basically, you talked about the like what is the structure of applying. Mine was completely unstructured. So basically, it started with my unofficial sub project under the finance professor I was talking about. So
Mhm.
so when I was making the project, I just found out like okay, these things are pretty much interesting and like might uh, I might want to dig deeper into it. So I just discussed this with the professor, and he said like, okay, so you can opt for a research internship this summer. I thought, okay, so it might be a good option. So how to do that? So said, ki, okay, so go on internet, go on the top colleges, which are the top colleges, okay, go there, go there. There are there faculty tabs on their websites. Click on
Mhm.
those tabs, go to the professor's profile, go to LinkedIn, go to their research, get research papers, archive, ssrn. You will find the research papers there, especially on Google Scholar. uh, when you write any paper of your interest, you will also get some papers of similar background, and you will get the author's name also. So there you can find some more professors there. So basically, end of a week or 10 days, you will find a pretty much 100 or 150 professors which have pretty much same domain as you want to work in. And that might not be in the top Ivy League colleges and all, but you need a
Mhm.
professor, you need a professor, you need a good project, you need in your domain. And it should basically give your mind that kick. Okay, okay, so this was the thing like I wanted to try. Okay, so after that, the database is ready. So now you have to go on mailing the professors again. Go to that professor's account, go to their recent research papers, find out what they were doing there, make a short summary, and just include that in your mail. And everyone knows that you're not that much interested into the professors. Okay, so
Mhm.
the basic draft of the mail would be the same, but there would be a small paragraph just saying that, okay, these are the projects and research papers that I found interest in. Okay, so that will help because that provides credibility to the professor that you are interested in their domain, and like you
Okay.
have researched about them already. Okay, so
Mhm.
that helped. And then you have to send mails, obviously. Like I sent around 100 type mails around. And it took me 1 month about. And to be very much honest, I asked this to my seniors also, like plus one, plus two seniors. They accept the first reply is 1% rate, and
Mm-hmm.
after that you will face whatever the interviews and all. But in my case, there was a special thing. So basically, the professor I'm currently working under, my one of the plus two seniors has worked under him, and
Okay.
that professor knows knows my basically my professor knows the UCL prof, and he said like he just talks to him once in a month. Okay, so he's in touch with him. So I said, sir, okay, referral दे दो फिर, मतलब इतना क्यों कर रहा हूँ मैं. So sir just said, okay, so there is no room for favoritism. It is just bad.
Mm-hmm.
Just do it yourself. Okay, go out mailing 100 professors. I don't care, and I will guide you. I will not refer to you. And again, then the prof's mail came around 1 or 2 days later, and he's very much cool professor. He just wants people to he just want interested people there. And mind you, I still didn't reveal my CGPA there, because if I revealed it, I'll be just kicked out of UCL's all of the RI shit. Okay, so basically, just for any of the students who are just feeling underconfident, like what if my CGPA is bad, and like if I'm too late applying to this. I applied in I applied for like full April month. I got this in May, and currently I'm working under him. And the fun part is the prof is so again might be a different ball game to everyone. So
Mm-hmm.
the professor's last paper was published, in which his PhD scholar, who is working in Lloyd's Banking Group, was also a co-author of that. So now I'm currently working in collaboration with Lloyd's Banking Group as well. So that thing might help. So this is not the universities. This is not what you put on the table. Obviously, you should have interest, but you should research well about the professors. And again, a minor thing that you might notice here, you should approach the professors in bits that you have interest of the subjects in. Like I had interest in risk management, like fram course. I don't know, some of you might know. And I approached to that prof, and he said like, Okay, so for these interest, I have these many professors based out of ISB, some in ISE, IIMs, UCL, and all. So those might give you references, and those might give you the contacts of seniors who you should approach. And those seniors will obviously help you in a much specific way, rather than just random knowledge in uh, like do this, do that, etc. shit.
Mm,
So
yeah.
that was pretty much my experience. It was a very much randomized thing, but yeah, it took hard work. It took hard work. Like you have to search for every professor's email ID, professor's websites. Some of those don't reply. Some of those no, many of those don't reply, but
Mm-hmm.
they have interest in their domain. Few of them might turn back and say, okay, so let's make it work and all. That's the
Okay.
fun part. Do hard work. That's all thing. So because what I think, like my decision of doing the RI was taken pretty much late, because for off campus RI, like on campus RI actually, you should apply pretty much earlier, because for European countries, especially UCL and the Ivy League colleges, they have preferences. And lastly, in the first meet when I said, Prof, like obviously, sir, I wanted to come on campus, and like how could it be possible? He said like, first of all, if you're trying to put your money in, okay, so even if you try to put all your money in, like it is not suggested to do so, but still. Currently there are too many people registered in UCL, so you might not have workspace there to work around. So it's not profitable for you. Like work in your workspace already, and like we talk on Microsoft Teams, mails, etc. It's working cool. It's as far as my interest is concerned, as far as my uh, like the domain I wanted to work in, it is pretty cool. It's new. It's in market, not in market, in future market, I guess. So it's cool.
Okay, nice. So, great. So that's actually very informative and very inspiring to hear. So now I'm gonna ask a creative kind of a personal question as well. Imagine you wake up tomorrow as a first year self student at BITS, but you still know everything you know today, and you have one semester to prepare for an not one semester actually. Let's keep it longer. Let's say you're in the first year only, and then you have to like go from there. What would you do differently, and what would you not spend time on? And meanwhile, just side by side, make kind of a path for a first year students, like a month by month path, who's building their profile versus a third year students that are preparing to send out applications right now. Would anybody like to start on that question?
Wait, so I think I'll address the first year entire part, right? Because if my first year was considered, I think that was not at all academically inclined in any sense, which you could perhaps imagine, right? So
Yes.
there were definitely a lot of things which could be improved, but like I'll speak from a general standalone point. I'll just say that see, eventually you just have to know that bits college ठीक है whatever it's there, it will only matter till like like till the end of a degree. After that you're on your own. So if you want to survive in this excessively challenging world, then you basically have to develop competency in whatever field you want to go in. You might not know exactly where you want to end up. That is completely fine, because that was something which, again, like I mentioned, I had a lot of chaos in my head. That
Mhm.
gets sorted out eventually, because what I feel is the first year, in my opinion, should only be attributed to learning what you don't want to do rather than knowing what you should do. Because when you actually have uncertainties removed from your life, the entire randomness ultimately becomes isotropic, and then you have a couple of directions to choose from. And I think that is when you have to take the decision that maybe I will invest some time doing this right now. I'll see how it will fare. If it fares well, good enough. If you want to switch, then also it's fine. Considering you move from first year to like third year's first semester, like that is the entire time you get to prepare a research profile, or like a CV which you have before ultimately like your 3-2 begins, and you are like, okay, now I have to apply. Like ideally, to get a good RI in like the summer term, most of the people actually start applying from December. That is like a very generous. I don't know about the Viterbi deadlines, but I believe that the process would have started way before as well, I guess. Right. So all these people are pretty picky about that. Aarchi would definitely extend on that. But yeah, you need to have constructive work which actually contributes to the society in some sense, right? You cannot just review anything and just put AI slop and go like, oh, I have a paper now. That is not how it works. But you can definitely use AI, at least, because like I in back in the day, I think I was not much of an AI head, but right now, like I when I'm working with AI workflows, things definitely change, because then you realize that optimization actually happens with workload, right? But right now, with what the situation is, people can actually just put multiple books or references on AI, and they can just like ask Claude to just give me an understanding of what this is. You can immediately just quickly understand, okay, this is it, this is it, this has been done, what's not left to be done. Are you interested in doing that? Start working on that. And see, there is I mean, I don't know how it like goes around different branches, but I'll speak for mechanical. When you're pursuing mechanical, and like, I always wanted to get into core, so when you're pursuing mechanical, you might not understand relevance of some of the courses which you are actually doing on campus. And yeah, again, most of them are actually taken in a very flaccid way as well. But the entire point is, when you're preparing for that, if you actually just get the nitty gritties and the basic concepts completely inside your head, that can actually, change the way you understand things when it actually comes to working in the real life environment. Because mechanical mein you study about screws, you study about threads in a fucking bolt. You might not feel like that is actually important in the real world, but come on, now I'm building planes, and then there are simulations running on a fucking piece of board where you have to understand what sort of threading is actually required. So this is the type of engineering which is going across literally all the companies out there, be it Rolls Royce, be it Airbus. So you you have to respect what you are doing. That is what there is. You have to respect your work. You have to respect other people's work, because sometimes like I have seen that like it is pretty prominent, at least in our age group, that we tend to get a little above the clouds, little in our own head, feeling like, oh, we know everything. Samne wala to whatever this guy is doing is bullshit, we'll just do it in a better way. But sometimes it's more about understanding what's being done out there, because you might not be, you might have a better idea, sure, but it's more about understanding what mistakes they have done so that you don't repeat that in the future. That is entirely, I feel, what the first year should be attributed to. You talk to seniors, you have a lot of fun, you let yourself be free to explore. Do not constrain yourself to a timetable, to a schedule. Padhai karo. Padhai is important. Definitely, that should go on along the lines. But I believe that, see, I'm not saying CGPA could light low. I have a good CGPA, so I won't say that. But it's important to have a good CGPA. But ultimately, the important point is, do not lose out on all the things which you can actually do. Do not lose out on the exploration period. Perhaps spend some lesser time playing games than as a thoda figure out kar logi eventually future or what you want to do. Otherwise, I have seen a lot of people struggle in my own friend group, and they
Mhm.
have their own regrets. And so this is basically what I'm trying to portray, that fun and everything is important. Like sleep very important, but ठीक है, sleep ko we can let it say fuck off. Enjoy everything, but like just know that there is a limit. You should know that you have something to do. If you get too late in that realization, trust me, it actually takes a lot of work to reach a guy who is already consistent from first year. When you realize in third year that, oh fuck, this guy right next to my door in my own fucking wing is somewhere else and I am here. When you realize that difference, that is what hits a lot of people, and I've seen that in my 3-2. So this is something which people can easily save themselves from by putting themselves into the limelight and just focusing on them, and then just looking at everyone else, with a scope of knowledge, not in the scope of like inferiority or like just condescending or something. Just have like a very open mind, understanding mind. That's all.
Okay, that's really good to hear. And what about Archie? Would you like to say something to that?
I think Ashray summed it all up. I mean, literally summed it all up. And that's what I think. First year is just like you have it in your head that you have to try and figure out, and that'll be all. Then you will be figuring out. And I think if first yearites are watching this thing right now, then they have some part already done.
Yeah,
Okay, yeah,
I
sorry
totally
about that.
agree for that part. But yeah, and I'd like also like to add just one thing. Like uh, for a first year, Ritesh, I'll just say one thing. Like don't go on the tracks and paths like which are laid down by the seniors, because those might be a pioneer in their field already. You might be a new pioneer in your field already. So there might be new paths, different paths, and like try out everything. Don't judge anything like okay ये तो नहीं करना है या ये शायद मेरे इंटरेस्ट में कभी आएगा भी नहीं, ऐसा नहीं करना. So in for that part, go on trying everything, learn new things, give it time. New things take time. It's already very boring in the very beginning. Nothing serious is interesting apart from social media, I guess. So you have to put time, put 1 month, 2 months, etc. Do a project, do any random ass project, no one is judging. Just another one thing, take the help of AI very seriously and not like making things up for a resume. Do that in a useful way for helping you. Like uh,
Okay.
like suppose there's a new domain you want to work in, go to Claude, like bro मेरे को कुछ नहीं आता, this is the topic, इसके बारे में जो जो सब भी है, go on. That application will tell you everything, the recent papers that have been published, the professors working in the recent job opportunities there, probably the recent projects that you might think, projects working currently, projects that you should work on. And first of all, you should not like you should obviously make some basic projects, but after getting your hands dirty on a few, you just go on making some projects that are currently built by other people out of the college, because in the college you are pretty much in an aquarium. Because the first talk I had with my prof, he just scrapped all my past projects, saying ki it's all bullshit, it's all just orthodox classical things, you have done
Mm.
nothing as in my uh, domain. Currently you have interest and you can do, but go on, research about everything that's going on. I didn't have any idea upon OpenClaw, but now it's a part of my project, it's a part of my model. So okay, so that was the thing. Go on, go on trying everything. Just make sure you're making something which is currently in trend, because as far
Okay.
as you're making that, you might get it, get up selling that, and you might earn something as well.
Okay, great.
Just to add one thing.
Yeah,
So,
yeah, sure.
yeah, just to add to what Ritesh said, that what worked for the senior might not work for us, and what works for us might not work for you guys. So you just need to try things, yeah. And I would like to also add that I did try cold mailing for a lot of time, and it did not work for me actually. So that's there, that it worked for these guys but did not for me. I got some acceptances but not the kind of opportunity I wanted, and I did try some for quite some long time only, you can say, yeah.
Okay. Yeah, well, yeah, I completely agree with that. Something works for some people and some things don't. And with that, that was very informative, and there were some very fantastic takeaways. And I hope everyone here has already noted down a few actionable ideas. I know I have. With that, let's open the floor to all of you. This is your opportunity to ask the panelist about anything that we have discussed today, even something that we haven't. No question is too basic. Feel free to raise your hand or drop the question in the chat. And yeah, let's answer some questions. So I think we already have one. And this is the small question for Ashray. Bhaiya, you mentioned that you had 6+ internships. What does the timeline look like for those? Did you work on them during the semesters or was it only during the summers? Thanks.
Yeah, so to answer Abhay, basically, see, a couple of my internships were born out of dire need to, just get some funding for Chris. I'm being very realistic right now. Okay, so I actually ventured through, like, there are a lot of opportunities when it actually comes to earning money. Okay, it's not like it's pretty hard. So I was basically doing freelancing on Fiverr, where basically, like, I was doing some, basic modeling, or like, for example, like for one of the clients based in US, I just like designed an ergonomic cradle for his kid, right? And then I just did some structural FEA and everything on it, and I gave him the design, and he was pretty happy with it. And yeah, so that was done on a contract basis. So these are some experiences which you can do. So eventually what happens is that, okay, you don't have to add everything onto your CV, but definitely it's like a good use of your time because you are getting to learn something new. That's one thing. But this was like one of like I did a couple of freelancing gigs. But coming to the internship part, yeah, so two of them were during 2 or 3 of them were actually during the semester. I was also working for LAT during my 3-2. So I had a winter internship, then I had remote work period, and then working there offline again. Yeah, so I was basically juggling like 3 competitions, academics, then this, and a lot of things last semester as well. But trust me, one thing which I realized, the semester wherein I was the freest comparatively had like my worst performance, and the semester where I was very occupied had like one of my best performances overall in all the feats combined. because that's what happens when you have a disciplined and optimized schedule. You just end up dedicating proper time everywhere because you learn the value of time. The time value of money wala concept hota hai na in finance, that kicks into your fucking head because you are realizing that okay, now your time is worth something, so you allocate it accordingly. And that can only happen when you are like, judicious, just like both of them have already added. You need to like start figuring something out at least, right? And when you do that, you just keep on getting interest, and then you just go like, yeah, thoda sa aaj let me spend more time on this. Does not need to be research. I have seen people who started competitive programming when they came to campus, and then they just got hooked onto it. And then they are, every day talking about some fucking DSA problem on lead code. And I'm like, bro, I don't want to listen, but that's what they can talk about. And I'm like, okay, fine. So all of that happens, and it's completely fine. People can say whatever, but I think, yeah, you should just be, you should have at least one goal in life. You should not be an anchorless ship. That's what the entire thing is. It's pretty easy to manage things. It's not real hard. So, yeah.
Okay, so I think Charvi Bansal raised her hand, so I think she has a question.
Hi, Ashray. I had a question for you. I just wanted to ask how your journey with Chris Robotics helped you with getting on the clarity, like going to competitions, like how recently Chris went to Manipal. Did it help you somewhere getting the clarity? This is my first question. Second question is, according to you, how much yapping is too much yapping?
To answer that, so basically, I learned this esteemed skill of yapping from Charvi herself, right? And yeah, if you bother to go through my LinkedIn on like the education wala profile, you'll just see that I have written in bits as a skill, achieved a degree in sleeping and yapology. So I happily admit to that. Okay, so yeah, but like actually being realistic about commitments, I feel like not a lot of them might actually be for you, right? I had an interest in Chris because of the things which were being done, because of what I wanted to do there and what I was getting to do there. So essentially, everything ended up helping me become who I am right now. And I only like
Like
first
the
year I was messing
competition?
around. What?
Like the competitions?
Oh, I'll be professional. Yeah. So, basically, the point was competitions don't really help that much if you are going to feel like okay, I'm going to be there and I'm going to have like a very flabbergasting realization. No, but yeah, so when you go anywhere, you interact with people, you get to know what they have been working on, and like I've already mentioned, you need to go with an open mind. You need to absorb whatever is out there. This is something which I did when we went to Australia as well, for the competition, because you need to understand what others are doing differently. Is it better or worse comes later. First is just understanding where the difference lies in, be it anything in the world. Like it could be like the guy who is sitting right next to you, both of you are, let's say, playing FIFA. If he's controlling differently, bro, is it good or bad? You don't know. You cannot put a judgment because you are not the judgment. Just like just working in the society, being with people, learning from people is what gets you ahead. So yeah.
All right, Ashray, thank you so much for your answer. There are a few more questions, but I guess I'll just text you maybe if you can drop your number.
See, I
Uh,
feel we should ignore her. So yeah,
yeah,
let's
yeah,
move.
yeah. Okay, so that was very useful and important for this talk. Anyway, so another question from Ria Bharadwaj. Hi, Ashray. In continuance with the Abhay's question, as someone entering a second year, I don't have a specialized skill set yet. What would you recommend adding to a CV when you're applying to your very first internship? And how did you decide which skills and projects to build? And what do you think made companies choose you in the beginning?
See, when you actually don't have anything in your CV, then you don't actually put forward your CV. Okay, that's what the thing is. Because when you are mailing people initially, like how it began for me was when you do not have something but you have an interest, you look for people who value that interest and want to get work out of it. So that's why, like, I look for small scale companies. I look for some recent startups who were perhaps working in the field where I wanted to get some knowledge in. I myself did not have a very, handy skill set. in the beginning of my second year itself. A lot of things I learned on the way, and that just happens by, sometimes like different opportunities might just come to your door and you just go like, yeah, okay, maybe let me explore that. And just for that to happen, there are a lot of ways. One thing is that, okay, you can definitely ask a seniors, super seniors, I mean, because there are a lot of bits in seniors who are working in startups, right? And if not a direct employment, they can definitely guide you with some projects. They can definitely guide you with what is in the market, what is required, right? You can perhaps start learning over there. And trust me that okay, there are a lot of things out there. Even if you master one thing properly, that's good enough to land an internship in the field which you want to. It's not that hard. And yeah, rather than like Ritesh mentioned, rather than adding any bullshit to your CV, be honest about what is being written there, because ultimately you should know that whatever you are doing, if it's on the right track, then it's definitely valued somewhere. And that realization you get by talking to professors, you get that by talking to your super seniors, you get that by spending time on Google Scholar Archive and everything, and just seeing that okay, kya kya chal raha hai world mein. That's all.
Okay, I think that solves that problem. And then the next question is what kind of personal, by Nimit Grover, what kind of personal projects not associated with profs or institutions are valued at research internships? There's this tendency to think that if it's been done before or it's not that groundbreaking, then it's not that valuable. What are the evaluators looking for in your projects? To anyone, really. So, would anyone like to answer that? Yeah,
They just
Ritesh.
want they just they are just saying for your interest in the domain, and you should firstly be interested in your project, obviously, and that uh, the first basic project you will make, and like after that it's obvious that if you're finding interest in the domain and in the project, you will end up making up some uh, more than the basic projects, like something that the market demands, or it is not groundbreaking, and you can learn that in 1 month, 1.5 months are pretty much enough for that. And so you can build that. It's not like you have to make something which has been not made before. Bro, you are an undergraduate student, they're not expecting that things from you. You just need to show your interest, the things that professor is interested in. That does not mean that your resume needs to be tailored by the professor's domain. The professor should be the choice of professor is tailored by your interests. It's the other way around. So it's your interest that define the research internship.
Okay, so that was really good. And then we go to the next question. Aarchi Didi, I'm starting my second year and I don't have a lot of research on my CV yet, but I do have some personal projects on my list. Would it still be enough to apply to research abroad, or should I work on doing projects on campus only at the moment?
So I don't think so that you need to work on projects on campus just to say that you have worked under a professor. Even if you have personal projects, that's just it. If it's in the domain, that's what you like to do, and if it's relevant, then that will be fine. But if you do have time, you can take up a project as well, because that's just that you get an idea to work on, and then it'll be structured. So that's how it helps, not that you have worked under a professor or so. Personal projects also work fine.
Okay. So the next question is from Manan Malik. Suggest some more BITS Pilani courses which provide long-term benefits, not necessarily in AI ML. For example, linear algebra and PNS are courses which have long shelf life because they are prerequisites for machine learning course. So basically, I think he's asking for some courses that provide long-term benefits, not necessarily in AI/ML, but just in general. Manan, would you like to mention like some specific field that you're trying to go into? Because I think that varies
Um,
from.
am I audible?
Yeah, yeah, you are.
Currently, I'm just exploring the field which I have to pursue. I'm just currently exploring the CS related stuff over here.
Okay. So
I'll just
yeah,
okay. I'll just share a link which shares an opinion from one of the like godfathers of AI. I'll just share his opinion, and you can share your own opinions as well, because I don't want to rely on just one person's opinion only.
okay, I think we'll get to your question later on. So let's get to the other question, the last question from Nimit Grover to Aarchi Didi. Any tips for going into computational neuroscience and neurotech? Anything you wish you knew before going into the field?
I would say that you should read about it earlier. Like if neuroscience is what interests you, it's better that to get to know that it interests you, you read about it. Read books on brain. If you have taken up courses, that might help. Just to know that this is what is in this is what is sparking your interest, and also I think doing a project would help. That's what it is. If there are many projects, because neural networks is basically how they are based on how the brain is working. So there are many professors working on such projects, many projects that already exist, many open-ended projects that are available on the internet. You can look into that, and anything you wish you knew before going into the field. So for me, I did bio courses uh, in my second year, so that's how I knew that I'm liking it, and this was my way of trying to do it, to get into it. So I'm still trying to know if this is my field, if that answers your question.
Okay, so that's probably it for the session. I think this has been amazing, and a huge thank you to Ashray, Aarchi, and Ritesh for joining us and giving us such an honest look to what the research journey really looks like. We truly appreciate you taking the time to share your experiences and answer everybody's question. And we hope today's discussions has shown you that there isn't just one right path into research, because all of you had vastly different journeys and vastly different results. And yeah, none of our speakers followed a perfect roadmap. They explored different things and learned new skills and faced setbacks. And that's what ultimately opened doors for them. And on behalf of Bits Embryo, thank you all for joining us. And we hope to see you at many of our upcoming events. Thanks again, and see you next time.